what advice would you have for, musicians or female specifically creators in the space that you want to see coming up or that are maybe new and trying to navigate the industry?
Good question. I think that it's easy to get caught up and
You're listening to Studio 22.
Welcome to Studio 22. I'm Will Meldman, as always, with Brock O'Hearn. We are here with, the titles are almost too limiting, musician and recording artist, Maty Noyes.
hello. Thanks for having me.
Welcome, welcome.
Yeah, it's true. There's so many titles that we take on as, creatives and artists. So it's hard to put one word into it.
It'd make my job harder.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like it's always evolving too, right? You don't know if there might be another avenue as an artist you want to go explore, right?
Yeah, definitely. Always open to that and wanting to do more of that.
Yeah. I think that's a great way to be as someone who's creative, though, because it opens up a lot of different opportunities and channels to be a better artist all around, I think.
I totally agree with that.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
It's been a long time since I've seen you.
I know. You were one of the very first people I ever met when I came to LA.
That's when did you come to LA?
I was 17 and now I'm 25.
That's right. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Still young.
Yes.
For sure. Yeah, we're just getting started.
But that is crazy. Yeah, because I came to LA, 8 or 9 years ago. So it wasn't much long after I was
We came
here.
around the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I just remember coming like, all I gotta do is meet Maty. Sorry, all I gotta do is meet Maty and realize I'm not that talented.
That's sweet.
Yeah.
You're very talented, but thank you.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, no, it's a pleasure getting to meet you for the first time. Obviously, you guys had known each other. And I'm excited to dive into your career and your journey.
Yeah, let's dive in.
I guess with that too, like you have such an incredible voice. Was that something that you had since you were young? Did you work at it? Did you try other, modalities like different instruments or anything, and then you leaned into singing, or was it something that was always like the core of you?
Growing up, my mom put me into piano lessons really, really young, probably like 5 years old. And I felt being kind of forced into it without my choice made me resent it for a while. But parting from that and growing more into my own self-discovery through those early teen years and stuff, I found guitar on my own, and within a week I was writing songs in my room, and my mom was like, "What? We didn't even know you could sing," But I didn't really know either. I just always felt a deep connection to it. When I would hear songs as a kid, I can remember the first songs I heard that really made me be like, wow, those lyrics. I was thinking about the lyrics at a really young age, like mind blown. Alanis Morissette, isn't it ironic?
Yeah.
Like, how could the plane go down his first time on the plane? How is there rain on the wedding day? Like, it was just like, as a little kid, I'm like, whoa, this is just building this world. And it really inspired me. And I think I pulled a lot of inspiration from music that I really loved, like Johnny Cash, Elvis, Fleetwood Mac, a lot of early 70s, late 60s music my dad would play. He had great taste in music. So all those things combined with finding my voice, I kind of had a quirky take on my voice just through all the influences I had been exposed to. But basically through that, my mom was like, I don't ever want you to do vocal lessons. You're too young. They could try to change your voice. You have this really cool tone. I don't want anyone to mess that up. So just do it by ear, do it all natural. Don't think about it, just flow. And I'm really glad she did that, because being so young and impressionable, I don't know what could have been molded from my voice, but I'm happy to have this like raw, real thing from my like heart and everything that's brought me here.
Yeah, and that's one of the things I love about like creativity, because you mentioned like Alanis Morissette first, and I'm like, yeah, it makes sense, like born in the 90s, that type of thing. And then you go straight back to like Johnny Cash and Elvis and all that. Yeah. And I think there's something to be said about all art essentially being timeless, because I had a very similar experience too, like even with, paintings and artwork in museums. It's like the further back you go, the more I like it. Like I've some Renaissance art, but then also like a Banksy.
Yeah.
And with music too, I almost felt like the music of my day, besides like Nirvana and Red Hot Chili Peppers, stuff like that, was like not as good as like some of the music of the past, if that makes sense.
I totally get that. It's like amazing to find artists these days that do cut through and give you that excitement, but there is just something about that time period that is undeniably, it's just something that we can all hear, and it like brings up our vibrations as a whole together. And that's really powerful about music.
That's I really love that take on it, because it's very much that, and you can feel that through the different eras, right? 60s, 70s, 80s, all the way on.
Yeah.
And that's one thing with you that I've always seen since I met you, is that you've always been uniquely and unapologetically yourself. Like I don't think there's ever been a time that I've been watching your path and your career that I could say you're trying to be somebody else other than you.
I don't know who else I could be.
Yeah.
I'm actually me to almost like a fault, you know?
Yeah.
Which is the struggle of my entire journey, really, is that kind of thing. So it can be a blessing and a curse, you know?
And what do you mean by struggle when you say that?
I think like the majority of my career, being signed so young to one of the biggest labels at 16, to going on now to being independent for my first time at 25, breaking out of so many things, dealing with so much trauma and stuff. You just kind of have to find your way back to yourself a lot of times, and that can take a moment. But the problem about what you were asking is that my whole life, pretty much, everyone's been confused by me. Everyone's like, what is she? She's so talented. She's this star, but but like, what box does she go in? Like, you're amazing. We love you. You have it. But like, where do we put you? And I could never figure that question out. I could never give them the answer at the time, because I felt so many things, and I felt every day I didn't go in the studio trying to make a song like someone else, it was just like from the heart, you know? So I never wanted to repeat anything. I just wanted to be true to myself every day. What am I feeling today? What do I want to write about today? What vibe is that? Like, I can't limit myself. I love all genres. I love writing all genres. I love writing for other artists of all genres. Like, I can do it, so why wouldn't I? And I tap into so many of them. So I think with my approach with this next project coming out it's the message behind it is not limiting yourself and being in a box, because I think the future of music has to do more with not being the same thing all the time. I think people are getting tired of that, and there's a lot of work to be done, but I want to be one of those artists that's a part of that.
Where do you think that line is of like pure, unique and original self-expression and drawing from inspiration, right? If those are like two sides of the coin, where do you think that line is?
I think that the lines kind of come at different times. Sometimes you feel that feeling of, I just need to get something out. Like my favorite way to write music is like, wake up 7 a.m. This is just if I can like do whatever I want with my day. Hit a joint super early in the morning while it's just come out of my alpha dreaming state. And I will go straight to the piano or the guitar, and I'll let melodies kind of come through my head from I don't even know where, but I'm just open to it. I'm like, use me. I want to be a channel for this. It feels like the things that come through are beyond me. I don't know where they're coming from, but they're very special. And that's where I feel most connected to me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I love that way too, but there's also that great way of collaborating with people and pulling out their strengths and just having fun in the studio, you know? So.
I mean, speaking of collaborations, I mean, you've had some amazing collabs. What have been like some of your favorites and some of your favorite moments?
You know, I've had the privilege of working with so many different genres and artists that I've loved. You know, starting off with The Weeknd, he was one of the first ones. He really put me on when I was really young. And then that was in that whole world of music. Switch over, randomly get a big EDM song with Kygo. Wasn't expecting that. So now I'm in that lane of music. And then it's like working with people from Celine Dion. So I'm really just not limiting myself at all.
Yeah.
Yeah. because I have so many songs already for my artist project. Now I just have hundreds more I have to go through to like get to the right artist that I'll probably never use. So it's a lot of work, but it's exciting, and I'm ready to tap into more people's minds and help them evolve their music in the way they want to.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Have you felt an evolution in your music as you've, matured or changed as a person?
Definitely.
Has that affected you a lot?
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What has that been like since being 16, coming? Did you come to LA when you're 17 or 16?
LA at 17, Nashville 16.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, Nashville. Very cool.
Yeah, I left Mississippi, moved to Nashville, started there, and then popped over here.
Yeah,
and
that's
never
awesome.
left.
We're Nashville fans.
Oh, I love Nashville.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think starting off, the biggest difference was it was just me and my guitar. It was me not thinking about anything else, anyone else, just feeling things and writing them. And then when I moved to LA, I got like thrown into the session grind of, for years, every day, you're going to be 1 to 7 at least writing a song with a new stranger. And I did that for like 5 years in a row,
Wow.
amidst all the other things.
Yeah.
So
I think people undermine how much work it takes to be a musician all around.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen it with some of my friends who are musicians, and like the amount of work they put in on a regular basis, like till the late hours of the night. If whatever, it doesn't matter when it is, you're working. You're always thinking, having things channel through you. It's pretty serious.
And there's so many hats to wear, you know. Back in the day, it was about, recording your album and going to tour and giving this great body of work with your band or whoever. Nowadays, it's completely different. You have to wear all the hats. Everyone's doing it. It goes from just writing songs to being fully a creative director and a full visionary. So it's a lot, It's from the writing to the shooting everything, to the styling everything, to the coming up with all the ideas, the direction, the producer. I've started to become even the editor at this point. It's like there's no job I don't have right now, but I think you kind of have to run your own ship and like steer that shit,
Especially if you want to get your vision across, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Has it been very different going from signed with record labels and working with them to independent? Is it more of a workload? How different does it feel?
It's more of a workload, but you feel so much more hands-on in the project. It feels so much more yours, and you don't have to answer to people or be bullied or, terrorized constantly. You can kind of just follow your instinct and your heart. And
like independent film, right? You don't have like the studio exec on set yelling at you all the time. You're kind of like more free.
Yeah,
Is that
you definitely have to find people who are just down for the cause and want to like grow with you and be a part of something and see the vision, but easier said than done sometimes.
You mentioned working with like a new stranger every day.
Yeah.
Like how do you even begin to like get on the same wavelength with like a new person every day and like create something beautiful with like new people all the time?
I think that kind of what you were saying earlier, the process between doing things alone or like, with people, they're both wonderful. And I think when you write with people, you can maybe pull more from a story place. Like, oh, I kind of want to talk about this today. Or there's a little more room for that, as to where when I'm by myself, I'm just like letting things flow through and kind of going to not so what is the story, but what's underneath that. Let me pull from that place. So with other people, it's a bit more of like figuring out a puzzle together, but it never really intimidated me. I always quite enjoyed it. I've always felt kind of like a natural leader in a sense. I like feeling people's energies and making them feel comfortable, and I'm very adaptable to work with. So whoever it may be, I can kind of just flow with what works best with them, try to find their weaknesses and their strengths and use that all into the track. Because ultimately, to make the best track, you want the vocal to sound impeccable, the track itself to sound unreal, and you want the lyrics to be just incredible. Those are the three things I try to strive for the most.
So it's kind of like almost like acting in a way, where like you really have to open yourself up to that connection with other people, right? Does that make sense, Brock?
Yeah, I mean, acting is empathy, so there's a lot of that, and her, you saying how you have to feel connected to someone. I feel like if you want to have something that's truly authentic, you need that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You kind of have to go in the room and be like, I don't know you, and this isn't what I usually do, but let's take it 30 minutes to an hour talking about what's going on.
Yeah.
So we can know what we're genuinely getting out on our hearts today.
I feel like you'd have to be extremely open to that, because if you're closed off in that moment, you're not going to be creating something.
Oh,
great.
yeah. There's a lot of like things that I've discovered that have just helped me be better for people in that sense,
Yeah. I feel like it's such an impossible question. It's like someone asking you, what my favorite movie is or what my favorite project I work on. They're different, unique in their own rights. But do you have any that you've worked on or created that you're especially proud of or enjoyed more than others,
Music-wise, like
songs, yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I think, preparing for this next album to come out, I really had to go through all the songs I've been making in that past year, and even maybe some from older than that could have been missed that are really special, because there are so many of those that feel meant for you. But basically, after hitting that point of like, what is the album going to be? I'm ready for it. I have so many songs I'm so excited about. The hardest challenge as an artist is to just keep up with yourself. If you're writing so much and doing so much, my biggest goal is to stay in time with myself. Like, I wrote a song I'm excited about, we're gonna get out next month. I wrote this one I'm excited about, we're gonna get out that next month. That's the like goal that you wanna be at. But for your question, I think it was a matter of just going through all those and really picking the ones that I felt were super true and genuine to who I was at the time, that all flow together. Like I said, the project is all about not limiting yourself to a specific genre. It's called Rainbow Syndrome. So it's kind of like you have this like thing about you where you can't just be one thing. And that's kind of the meaning of it. And the album's for people who relate to that and also feel that way, because I feel like so many people do. They're so sick of also being like put in a box. So it's kind of to stand up for people like that. There are just as many people telling me I'm crazy and it's impossible, but I don't feel in my gut it's wrong. So I feel very confident that I should be fighting for this and have a voice for this.
Yeah, you should always trust your gut. And honestly, people will tell you that until you do it, and then they're going to ask you how you did it.
Exactly.
So we wouldn't have great art without people like you that are doing that, moving the needle.
Yeah, I'm doing my best. There's a lot of conversations that need to be had, a lot of changes in the industry. It's hard, It's really hard. Musicians barely make any money. I know a lot of other people are experiencing that as well here. I know you said you can't bring it up, but
no, I mean we talked about there's a strike in there, so yeah.
But so there's like that, and that I think a lot of artists seeing that strike, it's got them thinking like, how do we do that? Like us too, like we don't make any money either.
Yeah.
The problem with it is that there are certain unions for artists, but it's more like very specific niche things, like an orchestra player or a session player or a touring musician, not really anything to protect singers, songwriters. So it's really difficult to figure out how to form that union, or how is that possible. There are organizations already that have been working on like getting up to legislation to, increase royalty percentages and stuff. And people are fighting for it. But I hope there's a wave soon that comes where we also can find a way collectively to like gather somehow a massive amount of people to be on the same page and do something about it.
Yeah, I think even more than the film and TV industry, the music industry is notorious for, really bad deals for the artists.
My goodness.
Yeah.
I mean, it's wild. I've had songs with millions of streams and seen like pennies from that. It's wild.
Really?
Yeah, it's like every time period, every 5 years in the industry, things drastically change, At one point, people were selling CDs in, Walmart, and then it went all to iTunes, and, now it's all streaming, and there's all the TikTok, and all the market is so oversaturated. It's so hard to cut through everything and find like, will we ever have like just a great generational artist again past this point? Because sometimes there's a part of me that's like, you know, I've had momentum going in my career for a long time. And sometimes I'm just like, damn, I wish I could have blown up a little bit more before like TikTok came out.
Yeah.
You know, like I wish I could have made it before I had to like be at a point still to where you have to make 3 videos a day and like show your personality and find ways to, and it's just like wild to me because I'm already writing albums and like playing shows and doing all the creative and all the things. And I'm like, okay. So if I'm going to keep it going, now I have to also learn how to like video all
part
this
of it
stuff.
kinda.
I'm still figuring it out. I'm not knocking it. I know it's worked for a lot of people, but it does add a whole other level of like, this doesn't feel like what I should be doing, to be honest.
Right.
I can definitely relate to that because I think my natural, like, even though I blew up on the internet and it opened up so many doors to me, and I'm extremely grateful for that. There's this part of me that just wishes it was like the 90s, and you see like a big movie star would go do a great film and then they come out and do all this press and then they'd hide and disappear and then they'd be working on the next thing. And there was that like mystery, but also that, you know, preservation of self, you know, where you have a little bit of, you can pull back and you don't have to show the whole world everything all the time. Like, I don't love that aspect of it, but to your point, you know, it's like, we're never going to have another, I mean, we might, but I don't really think we'll have another Elvis or a Michael Jackson, or because it is so saturated with so many people that it's, before when we had 12 channels on the TV, if you're on one of those, you're as famous as it gets, you know. Now we've got 50 plus streaming platforms and all this, and same thing with music too, right?
Well, the other thing too is like, when has like someone showing their entire self and personality actually worked? And I mean, there's like, let me like give context for this. I'm saying like, you see celebrities all the time on social media, like with horrible takes and all this stuff, and they like just get crushed. And it's like, and I'm not saying you would have horrible takes. I'm saying you have like actors and stuff like that, because we were talking about this with Chase, where it's like, it really can just get you in trouble. It doesn't even matter if the take is good or bad, or like the video is good or bad or whatever. It's really just like, the culture right now is so like toxic, right? Where like, it's almost like the more you show, it's the more backlash you get. And it's like, it doesn't even matter what it is. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And like, maybe it's different in music or something, but.
No, it's very scary to put yourself out there.
Right,
for sure.
right.
More than ever, it's a little scary.
I feel like people.
Maybe I'm just like looking at it like way too negatively, of like just thinking of like actors tweeting bad stuff that gets them in trouble. But.
Well, I think there's a realism in that too, but at the same time, like at the end of the day, someone could break down, you know, their perspective, and it doesn't matter how good or bad, you could be saving thousands of people and, you know, a different country, children that need help, and then they'll be like, well, what about these people? Or what about, why didn't you do this? Why didn't you do that? And it's like, all you're doing is typing stuff on the internet and hiding behind a keyboard, you know, instead of like, these people are taking action and trying to put themselves out there to be a better version, share their art and music with the world. It's just like,
if only all the trolls on the internet spent all that energy and time that they're doing that actually towards something good,
productive,
it would be incredible shift that I would love to see. I would love to see that shift.
That's exactly what I'm talking. I'm really just talking about like trolls and stuff out there that like are just super
there's
negative.
So many.
And I guess there's tons, like there's so much to be said about like all your fans that want to hear from you and want to know what you're doing on a daily basis. Like that is definitely the best part of it, right? Of like, it's great. It's genuine connection, and you can connect with your fans now more than ever. So like that is a beautiful thing. And I'm not trying to like, I'm really just talking about the trolls and the negative part. You know
For sure. It's inescapable, but it's part of it. It just sucks.
But to your point though, exactly what you're saying, where if they could take that negative energy or wherever it is and channel into the good, it's the same thing that I feel about, you know, people trying to scam someone. It's like, you're doing all this to try and make a quick buck, and it's most likely going to bite you in the ass at some point. But what if you did that in a positive manner, you would have a tenfold reward, because it's like you're doing the right thing and it's going to last. You know, there's nothing. That's one of the first things I learned in business, was to not do anything bad. Don't do anything illegal. Don't screw anybody over, because
it's never worth it. Don't be greedy.
No.
Yeah, I think everyone has beautiful gifts and skills and superpowers. It's just choosing how they want to use them. Some people use them for the good, and some people use them for the evil.
Yeah,
definitely. And like discovering your own identity is like really key. And when you find what you love, it it reverberates through everyone around you, and like you can actually, like you said, like turn negative energy into positive, or like change your life and start being more productive.
Anything is possible if you just really want it, fight for it, go for it, work for it.
But that inner journey takes a lot of work and discipline, right?
It really
I think
does.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
A lot of people
something that
just-
I love seeing more and more people talk about that and are open to it. Just seeing like people in my dad's generation, how closed off a lot of those men were to their emotions or being vulnerable. It's just the worst thing you can do to yourself, really.
Yeah.
You're just pushing down so many things. And people think to be a great leader, they need to do this and they never need to show these sides. But I don't really think that's what makes a great leader, In my profession, I'm often always in the case of leading groups or teams or, it's just a natural thing for me that I've always had a knack for. And I love giving people safe spaces. I love when people come to me and speak to me. I love giving them advice and being there for them, especially my very close group of friends. But sometimes my friends will joke, like my best friend who knows me better than anyone, she's like, I finally get it now. Like I used to take offense, but I realize now sometimes I have to hang out with you 4 or 5 times before you just start letting everything out and telling me all the things. Like sometimes you just need to chill and that's all you need.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah. And they'll make jokes. Like if I finally say something, oh, I'm feeling this sad this week, they're like, finally, like she's human, she feels. And I'm like, guys, okay, it's not that. I think it's just that I myself give myself that time to mourn and feel those things alone so that I can hold space well for others. Because all these leaders that never get in touch with themselves, they're holding all this space, but I don't think it's coming from the healthiest place, right? Because to do that for yourself first allows you to do it for others properly. And so one crazy thing I discovered this year that some people might think is absolutely bananas, but I think it's beautiful and it's really helped me just stay super present and calm and mostly really happy. I will have these crazy visions that will come to me. I often get these wild scenes that will come in my head while I'm driving or something. And most of the time I'm just chilling, I'm happy, and then I'll start thinking about something I kind of care about. And it's almost like this wild, very specific movie scene will come into my mind. And I choose right then and there, it feels emotional, but I let it play out. I don't throw it to the side. I don't, just, oh yeah, I felt that, whatever. I don't need to go there. I literally let the emotions flow through me. I'll cry. It's emotional. It's beautiful. And right after that, I'm right back to myself. And I don't fight them. I don't stop them. And this could happen once a day even. And usually it's never around anyone else. It's not like, oh, she's sad, she's crying all the time. It's not like that kind of thing. It really is just I'm feeling everything. Oh, I'm feeling this. It's making me feel emotional. I'm going to let it come out. And I swear, trying to cry, not trying to, but allowing myself to cry once a day or so, it's very quick, harmless, and just keeps me super,
Do you read any Eckhart Tolle?
point. Who?
Eckhart Tolle?
No, but please
Like
put
The
me
Power
on.
of Now, The New Earth. So he talks a lot about you are the awareness behind your thoughts. You are not your thoughts themselves. So you are thoughts are literally form, they're matter, and your subconscious is formless. It's not matter. And that's what your consciousness is you can't, it's your consciousness does not consist of matter or form, right? So that's what consciousness is the awareness behind your thought. And that's exactly what you're doing, is you're letting your thought be a thought and affect you. But then you let it pass and then you're back to normal. That is the definition of awareness and consciousness.
Yeah.
Right? Not giving in to your thought, not even trying to suppress it is a form of not accepting it. Right?
And and with that too, I think it's an extremely healthy thing to do. And I think that's something that people need to hear, because what most people do in situations like that is they find a form of numbing, right? Some people can
It's
drink.
the healthiest thing to do.
Yeah. Some people will drink, some people will, watch movies, some people, tune out, turn it off, and you're suppressing that, you're losing that part of yourself versus feeling it and stepping into it. And then you step into this vulnerability space. You're living in your truth in that moment, letting that thing process whatever it was that needed to come through. And everything you've been saying is a form of self-love, and exactly what you're saying. One of my favorite quotes that I heard a long, long time ago was, if you want to change the world, you have to first change yourself. Yeah. So exactly what you're saying is being selfish enough to love yourself enough so that you can give more love to other people. And that was a lesson I learned really early on as well from a mentor of mine. And he said, the first year he made $100,000, and which is a lot of money when you have nothing, you're sleeping in a car, right? But by the end of the year, he gave it all away. And so he had nothing left to give at the end of the year. And what he realized from that moment on is he's like, I have to be selfish enough to keep enough. So the next time I give 100,000 away, it doesn't affect me at all. Yeah. So he went off to make 100 million a year, right? And then he could give and give and give and help people. And for me, that's always sat with me of like, okay, I need to focus on taking care of me first so I can take care of other people, and whatever that scale looks like. And the more you do that, the bigger your scale is, more people you can help. And I love what you're saying too, because just to circle back a little bit what you said earlier, I have conversations with friends of mine who are actors as well. And, we talk about, you look at all the leading males, because that's what I want to be, right? A leading male actor. And back in the 90s, it was all like big macho men, strong, but it wasn't vulnerable, emotion-driven people. It was, let's bury that and let's be the tough guy. Yeah. The new version that we all can agree on is that vulnerability of living in our truth and being able to communicate the things that are wrong and stepping into that role in that space and giving other people the space when they see that to feel vulnerable and to feel okay. Like if that guy can do it, I can do it too. Yeah. But being able to communicate that, right? And I think that's so important, the message that you're saying and sharing with everyone, because that's how we heal. That's how we grow, Yeah.
And also I think like recognizing your traumas, not letting them define you, not letting you overthink things over them, but trusting yourself more. If you're confused, you have to think, what are the values that make me me? Take yourself back to that place, Sometimes your values, you might be conflicted, but you can choose which one you know.
Dude, I got my values tattooed on my body.
Really? So what are they?
Can always remember them because I'll forget if I can't see them. Well, this is like my family, right? This is a Bible verse. He leads me beside still waters. Ezekiel 24:17, the Pulp Fiction one.
One of my faves.
And like love and do what you will is from an Eckhart Tolle book, but it's St. Augustine, 395 AD. So like things that remind me to stay calm, love my family, all that type of stuff, right? Like the stuff that I need to know where I can it's like a cheat sheet, right? Like a cheat sheet.
I'm like looking down like I got no values.
Where are my values at?
My values.
Yeah.
Practice.
Oh, there we go. There we go.
That was,
Love it.
That's awesome. Do you have a lot of tattoos or just a couple?
No, not a lot. Just a few on the arms. My favorite is my sea slugs. They're a beautiful species in the oceans all around the world.
Hell yeah.
There's over 3,000 species of them. So colorful, so beautiful. They actually have a penis and a vagina, and when they mate from the side, hook into each other. Usually the wiener breaks off, and they both get pregnant, but it grows back. And they have these beautiful pearlescent like egg sacs, and they're just the most divine, insane, mind-blowing creatures in the world. Their proper name is nudibranch, but people call them sea slugs.
That's interesting.
They purify the ocean floor, right?
I think so. I mean, I got to meet two of them on a diving trip, and that was the best day of my life.
That's awesome.
Hell yeah.
I saw them in I was on some kind of school trip or something, but there was they had them in, I don't know if it was an aquarium, but it was something. And they were literally pooping out clean sand. And I was like, you got to be kidding me. That's what they do. Like,
is a sea cucumber different? It's got to be.
Yeah, it's different.
Separate?
Okay. Because like diving, we've seen like sea cucumbers.
Yeah.
Sea slugs.
With that.
That's pretty cool.
I like the colors on them too. It's
Putting
very...
you on.
Yeah. Wait, did you say neon?
Putting you on.
Putting you on.
Oh, putting you on. Sorry.
One of the greatest species of all time.
I thought, yeah, hell yeah. I feel like I need to watch like a Planet Earth of them or something.
You should.
Yeah.
They're incredible, truly.
Does your hair now have anything to do with your album?
Yes.
Yeah, right.
So,
Part of
Rainbow
the-
Syndrome,
Yeah.
basically it's a 6-song project. Every song is a different genre and they all are associated with different colors. So the colors are like the worlds in which we build them in, the moods of the song. The first one was blue. The second one was green. The next one's red.
So it's like the blue one, a very like calming song.
Yes, it was calming,
Is there any
bittersweet.
Yeah.
Is there any relation to chakras with that, or is it just the color and the feeling behind that?
Any what?
Like correlation with chakras,
Chakras?
like energy.
Chakras.
Chakras.
Oh.
Yeah.
Correlation. No, but I could probably tie that in and make it make sense somehow.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
Right.
I bet you could.
Keep the ideas coming. We're adding chakras now.
Yeah. Well, like red is like a hot energy, right? So
Yeah.
it's like red would be like a more fast-paced track or something,
Right.
right? Like,
Yeah, exactly. It's more of the rock-esque one on the project.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah.
So you do kind of correlate energy and color.
Yes.
Okay.
Do you have a release date for those, or is that?
Yeah, the next song will be out August 11th. And then my favorite
Putting 'em on.
song called Yoo-Hoo. It's like a Swedish psychedelic cowgirl anthem. It's wild.
Wow.
I don't even know what to make of it. And then there's 2 more dropping with the EP. We'll take it slow for a second again with a song called 10 Minutes Away, and then end it with my favorite song called Love Train. Yeah.
That's awesome.
All the feelings, everything, all the colors.
So
amazing.
August 11th and when?
And then after that, like a month after that.
month after,
And
okay.
then EP will probably drop just September sometime.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Have you been playing shows lately at all?
I want to. That's my next
Yeah.
step. I think I just wanted to get a few of these new songs out again so people could come fresh with the new energy. And also, I want the live show to be impactful. I want it to be meaningful. I don't want to just get up and sing, You remember back in the day, I would just like be talking and lighting incense and whiling out up there, like a little bit more of that, but with more of a band and something more fitting for now. But I got to build it. I think that's one of my last pieces that I really need to put together.
Would you do it here in LA or would you kind of...
It's hard. I mean, yes, that would make the most sense. Living in Nashville, it was so easy to have bands. Everyone just
Right.
wanted to play with you, like throw a rock and someone wants to be in your band.
Yeah.
And everyone has houses there. Everyone has garages you can practice in. It's a lot easier, a lot more affordable. A lot of people don't want tons of money for every hour. They just want to be a part of something great. And obviously you should pay people, and I'm all for that. But as an independent artist, it's so much easier to find people who are just down with you and want to ride and go on that journey with you because they believe in the music for the outcome that we will all be, gratefully rewarded in the end if we work hard enough. But, still, I also believe and want to pay people. So it's a fine line of finding the right people, basically.
Yeah, but there's something so special and so great about having people that believe in you as well.
I
And you
know,
believe in them. It's
I
like
know.
that's when you can really build something great. It's like I have a vision for something. I'm so set and focused in this vision, and I hope that you can see it too. Because
Yeah.
if you see it, then we're going to that point.
Well, a lot of the great indie bands right now that are surviving, everyone in the band is best friends, It's like a beautiful bond, and they're all going on this journey together, which is beautiful. So I think that's the ideal situation, but just haven't found my right people yet.
Well, I would join you if I could play instruments. But
Oh,
I'm not-
Yeah,
we
yeah.
can teach you one.
yeah.
If Brock and I could play.
That was actually my dream as a kid. I was really into art, and I would draw myself at like 5 years old, 6 years old as either playing guitar on stage and or drums.
It's not too late.
Yeah.
You could totally shred the guitar.
Yeah.
For sure.
The funny thing though is that I drew myself with long hair and jacked, and
Yeah,
I
okay.
got that part.
It's time to bring the whole vision to
Yeah,
life.
we got to come full circle.
Yeah, just take like a few lessons and like get a
Yeah.
little electric. You'll be shredding in no time.
With it. Yeah. It'll be fun.
Yeah.
There's a Doctor Who episode where like a little girl, her drawings are like coming to life. That's what that reminds me of.
Aw, that's so cute.
Super random.
Can I have some more coffee?
Yes.
It's good stuff.
It's good. I like the little The holder.
Little French press.
My French press.
Yeah,
I
super
worship this
cute.
thing every morning.
I'm not even allowed to look at it.
I have Life Boost beans. It's like ground Life Boost. It's hella good.
Okay, I like
Yeah.
that. I don't even drink coffee unless my friend is like, let's go to the coffee shop, or if someone just has it.
Yeah.
You know?
No, that
but I
makes
like
sense.
it.
Yeah.
Oh, you got.
I'm just
yeah.
not one of those people that's like, have to have coffee as soon as I wake up. You know?
Yeah, I definitely am.
Yeah.
But, you know.
Is there anybody that would be a dream collaboration for you to work with?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. You have a pretty good list.
Good question.
There's really one that trumps it all, but Mark Ronson. Ugh. I don't care about anyone. You know me, I'm so like whatever about shit. Like this dude, I could see anyone in the world. Who's the dude? And I'm like, cool, whatever. This dude, I'm like, I will actually talk to him. I don't go up to anyone. I'm not one of those like, let's get a picture. Like I just can't. It's just not in me. I'm just whatever. I don't
Right.
judge people. It's all good, but it's just
You
it's
seem
not in
very
me.
chill.
Yeah, I'm like whatever. They'll find out about me one day. Like it's chill. But Mark Ronson, I literally chased down a hallway, and I was like, Mark. I was like, do you remember me? And he's like, what's your name again? I was like, Maty Noyes. Oh, yeah, you're so dumb. I stalked him. I was like, give me the email, give me this. Like, we need to be together. We need to get in together.
Yeah.
I've been told by the great universe that we are meant to. And I gave him this wild speech. And he was probably very scared. But one day he's going to see that I was right all along. And I can't wait for that day. It will be a glorious day.
What would you want to do with him? Like what type of record or track?
So you know how I was saying I've been writing this like whole album completely by myself, just waking up, guitar, piano, things are coming through. I either want to fully produce that on my own and just dive in and just do everything by myself because I've already written them all by myself. So like, why would I let a computer stop me? Like I can learn, I can do this. Other people can do this. I like to learn things. I like to push myself. So it used to be kind of like when I first entered the industry, oh, there's no female producers. You just show up, you write, you sing. These are who are going to do the track. But like now there's so many people that there's an uprising and a moment of female producers right now coming up, and it's incredible. And everyone's kind of getting the clue, like, of course we can do this. Why didn't we? Why did we just feel like we never could? Like, we can do this. Like, of course.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of getting that itch of either like disappearing and like just teaching myself everything remotely somewhere and just vibing out and see what I can figure out. But also the only other person I would give this album to would be Mark Ronson or Rick Rubin. Sorry, just, yeah. But yeah, he would have to just be down to like meet with me, trust me, vibe with me, come through, let me just do my thing and show him where I'm at and just see if he fucked with it. But I do believe, based off of my extensive knowledge of his production and music, that he would for sure bring some incredible stuff to these songs. So that's my dream collaboration.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
I love how passionate you are about it.
Atlas, what are you doing?
Atlas.
Are you protecting us?
Oh, it's Atlas. I love that name. That's such a good. That was the first king of Atlantis. His name was Atlas, and he was the Atlas mountain range is the mountains just north of where Atlantis was supposed to be.
So cute.
But yeah, no, so creating. Yeah, and manifesting and all that good stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Do you like music festivals?
Yeah. The thing is, I went to so many growing up, like camping, this, that. I got a little burnout on it.
Right.
Now I would love to go back and just play them all. That would
Right.
be what I would love to do with that.
What's
You know?
Yeah.
What is that feeling for you? And I've heard this from a couple of different friends, and it's been a little different for each one. But what's the feeling of being on stage and performing for people? What do you get from that?
It's nice, especially when when you're being able to show them something you're really proud of, that you have full confidence in that you're doing. And it's just great when everyone is connecting with you and wants to connect with you. And that's my favorite part of it. There is a big difference between playing like a hotel cafe and feeling super intimate with everyone in the room and having just words spill out versus like shows I've played where it's like 26,000 people and you can only see like a sea of them, maybe a little people in the front row, and you're just like, that one's almost less nerve-wracking because it's just so much that you can't even really process it. It's almost like you're watching a movie or something. You're like, oh yeah, walking on. Oh wow, it's just it's hard to explain the feeling, but it was less scary for me than playing to just a few people actually.
Dude, speaking of a movie, I've always wanted to produce a documentary like this where it's called Under the Great White Northern Lights, and it's the White Stripes, and they play every province in Canada.
Wow.
And, some of the shows are like at a bowling alley or on a boat or like in the middle of the street, because it's just like about connecting with the people and like traveling.
I love that.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's what I was picturing when you said that, of like, like a hotel cafe or something like that, where you're really you're there for the music and the connection and the performance.
If the energy's right in the room and everyone's present with you, you just start saying and flowing on things you didn't even plan at all. And it's the best feeling when you can tap into that part of yourself.
Hell yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I know the answer to this, but could you see yourself doing anything else but being a musician?
Yeah. I mean, I think the goal for me would to be Rihanna is the goal. Just the way that she consistently stayed on top with her music, evolved through every change in the industry, and has had consecutive, consistent hits for 10 to 15, if not more years. That's incredible. She's always maintained her poise. Everyone respects her. She's also dabbled into making her own clothing brands and makeup lines. I love so many different creative types of things, so I would love to find ways to do all sorts of things like that. And also, I would be completely open to trying acting if it was the right role. I do think there's a lot in here that could be tapped into, especially telling you guys my little secret that I can make myself cry every day. But it's like, I think it would be nice to try that, to challenge myself to try that.
I found that singers especially have an innate ability generally to act.
Yeah, because we are tapped into our emotions, and we are used to like having to pull out our traumas to write things.
Exactly, and that intention too behind the voice as well. You're able to manipulate in an authentic way.
Yeah.
Well, do you do a lot of, we kind of touched on this earlier, but like, do you do a lot of social media videos, or like, are you in front of a camera a lot? Music videos, stuff like that?
Yeah, music videos for sure. I love music videos. I am kind of breaking into my awakening of figuring out content for me and how to like display that to people correctly. It's really easy for me to find great scenes and sing the song somewhere beautiful, looking great, but it's like, okay, and we got the pictures, but it's like, need to be a little bit better about just talking and like showing my story. It's a good example of like, people can become obsessed with a song and never remember or care about the artist. But if you're an artist that has something to say and you can connect with people, you kind of want people to actually get to know who you are, so that they're not just connecting with your music, they're connecting to you as a whole, as a human being.
Yeah.
And that's far more successful, in my opinion, to try to go with that approach of it. So I do want to find a way to open up to people more and show myself more. But
I mean, podcast is a great way to do it.
Yeah.
Yes,
I love
step
it.
one. Here we go, baby.
Talk about anything.
That's awesome. Yeah, no, what advice would you have for, musicians or female specifically creators in the space that you want to see coming up, or that are maybe new and trying to navigate the industry?
Good question. I think that it's easy to get caught up, and I'm going to compromise so much of myself because it's going to help me get to my goal quicker, and it's going to help me save the world and help people faster. But the reality is, if you're not instantly true to yourself, you're just going to take a really long ride around where you could have just got to from simply being yourself. And as hard as that is to do in this day and age, it's the most important thing to do. So easier said than done. Obviously, everyone suffers with the judgment of everyone at all times, but the more you can tune those things out and not let it affect you, the better. Obviously, sometimes it gets to all of us, and that's okay, I'm not perfect at it. You know, I'll be doing really good and then see one little thing, and for some reason it'll throw me off, even though I don't know that person and it don't really matter. But it's just part of it, you know. Learn to love the haters too. You're not gonna make it without the haters too.
Yeah. Something I've always leaned into in that space is that if somebody's coming at you from an angle that isn't positive, you know, isn't good, they're showing up where they're at. Mm-hmm. And for me, it at least gives me an opportunity to be empathetic that, you know, they're doing the best they can with what they know. And it's a shame that they haven't learned more and healed more. Because if you never hear someone who's truly happy talk bad about someone else, so you got to realize
No, it actually makes me feel so sad, you know, because just seeing people who are going through that, it breaks my heart that someone was so horrible to them that they now feel like they have to treat people like that. And it does give me a lot of empathy for people like that, of just like, it makes me feel so sad for them, you know? But, because it is sad. It is sad people who are mean to others just because, you know, people were mean to them, but I get it. And I hope that those people can continue to heal and just be aware of that. And I think as each generation keeps coming, I've seen a lot of evolution, you know, especially from like my parents when I was young. They were so strict. It was so intense. Now my mom's like just opened one of the first dispensaries in Mississippi. She's helping people get off, you know, a bunch of pills and onto something more medicinal, because she's also a doctor there, and she's just seen the effect it's had on people. And so if you would have told her that a few years ago, she'd be like, that's the devil's lettuce, no way. But now she's like, I'm helping people, and it's awesome. And so, you know, my parents have leveled out a lot, and they always say it's kind of like, well, seeing you guys and how you're growing up now, it's like, it's beautiful to help try to pass that on. You know, it's hard to have conversations sometimes with people who are closed off. And my dad is someone who I've always really loved, but I always felt like he never let me pass a certain surface with him. And I was kind of thinking this year, I was like, it's up to me. Like, I need to like actually try to have a real conversation with him and let him know that it's okay. And that I would so respect and appreciate knowing more about his life, as whatever traumatic it may be. Like, I would love to just know more about him and not have him feeling like he has to hide things and push them down and not be vulnerable. And so, you know, I opened up to him and I talked to him about that, and I told him what was going on with me that was crushing my life, and we had a beautiful moment. And like, since that talk, I feel such a shift in our relationship. And that was something I was so scared and like freaked out to do, but I'm so happy I did, because you never know how long you're gonna have your parents around, and like, it's a blessing to have family healthy and here for us. So I just want to cherish every moment and try to evolve it in my family and build it, rather than looking at something like, oh, it's a lost cause, you know, they're just like that, this pisses me off, I don't want to deal with it, it's annoying. I'm like, no, I'm going to go in and I'm going to do everything I can to elevate these people that I love, because I know that that's what they would do for me.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's what love is.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Maty, you are amazing. You are a true talent. We are so grateful you came on, and so good to see you again.
Thank you. It's so good to see you.
Yeah, it's a pleasure getting to meet you.
Appreciate it. Yeah, same.
Treat.
Yeah.
Such a treat.
Hopefully we can connect Mark or Rick at some point. Yeah. Somehow.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Make it happen.
Yeah. No, but that would be incredible, and I can see that absolutely happening for you. It's going to come to fruition, and I'm very excited to see what happens next for you.
I'm very excited to see what happens next for you and you.
August 11th, baby.
August 11th, baby.
I'll be ready for it.
Hell yeah.
All right.
All right. Peace and love. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for watching Studio 22.
Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.
And follow our socials at Studio 22 Podcast.